we can be flourishing and not be happy. There's a difference there. Happy means I've got to have this great feeling. Flourishing doesn't depend and rest on feelings. It rests on a peace of mind, a knowing that I'm going to look at the positive aspect. I have flow, I have skills, I've accomplished certain things, and I can move forward with that. Hi, Dr. Dan here, and I guide students to be smart about higher education and live a life that matters. In today's Wisdom for the Week, I'm going to be talking about PERMA, which is an acronym. PERMA, the 5 keys of well-being to flourish and not perish. Everyone feels happy at times, but few flourish with well-being, and we're going to talk about that today. But first I want to tell you a story about one of the boys that was in my program. I've changed his name, and even though it was way, way long ago, but we'll call him Chucky. And so Chucky, the weekend program we had with the boys, a few group of boys, it was 7 weekends long. A few boys would be coming in for the first weekend, a few boys would be leaving for the last weekend. There was a core group that kind of moved along. So every weekend, these new boys would come in. Chucky was one of the new boys. You come in, what we do the first thing every weekend is we circle up and we learn each other's first name. And that was challenging for many of the boys. And Chucky just couldn't grasp that at all. And he was making mistake after mistake. So we had to really work hard to help him through that. And we kind of pulled him along through that and got him through that. So then the next step that we do is we sit down, we gave them a goal sheet, and they had to read questions and answer these questions and write down their goals for the weekend. It became obvious pretty quick that Chucky did not know how to read and write. But surprisingly, a boy, one of the other boys, one of the leaders, steps up and he's sitting there helping Chucky. Blesses my heart to see that. But he is helping Chucky read and write his goals down. So right away we have some relationship built there. But on the other hand, coming into a group of boys, they always were looking for their status along the line here. Who was the lowest on the low end of the group and who was the leaders in the high end of the group? Well, right off the bat, Chucky couldn't get the names. Well, he didn't know how to read and write. He's on the low end of the status level of the guys that are in the program. So what happens after that? Well, we're going to get back to Chucky. We're going to go to Martin E.P. Seligman, who is a psychologist, and he's noted as being the father of positive psychology, which kind of happened only fairly recently, a little over a couple decades ago. And Martin was doing all of his research. He's a psychologist looking at things and saying, you go to the DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. That's a mouthful, but that's why you refer to it as the DSM. But it's just a listing of all the psychological disorders and the diagnoses, and everybody bases their thoughts on this. They go and line up the parameters and all the things that tell them that this person has this kind of psychological disorder. And he looked at that and found that there was nothing positive in there. There was nothing that dwelt on what people were doing right. All they were doing was dwelling on the problems and the negative. Add to that the psychotropic and the medications that were used were strictly cosmetic. That means they only treated symptoms, or they were kind of thinking about being curative and curing, but they had the intention of it, but there was no proof or guarantee of it. So we're medicating with medications that really aren't helping that much. They're just treating symptoms. And we're labeling people with all these negative things instead of saying, we've got some positives. Well, Martin has studied that extensively. There's a lot more to it, but we're going to cover a model that he developed called the PERMA Model. The PERMA stands for, it's an acrostic that stands for certain words, and we're going to cover the first one. The P stands for positive emotion. It's always good to be seeing the glass as half full. It's good to be thinking that you're going to make lemonade out of lemons instead of dwelling on the negative and why does this happen. You're going to dwell on what can I learn over this, what good can come out of this. That's the positive emotion. Everybody can lean in that direction. Engagement. We covered a guy in another video, I'll link it, on Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and he dealt with flow. So Martin calls it engagement, Mihai calls it flow, but it's basically you're lost in thought, you're right above, you're in your skill set, you're above boredom, but you're short of overwhelm, and you're in this zone or this state of flow and engagement that things, you're very productive, things are just kind of flowing for you, and you're very engaged, you're fulfilled in what you're doing. The next one would be relationships. That young man that stepped up and helped Chucky, that's relationship. Those are people, none of us thrive or have in our well-being or flourish in our lives without key relationships that we can count on in our lives. The next one would be meaning. What are you here for? What's your purpose? Mark Twain states that the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. We get meaning out of knowing why we're here, and we're here for a purpose and for a reason. And we do things that transcend just us. It's not just about us, or me. The next one and the final one would be accomplishments. We all have to know that we have accomplished something, that we're good at something, we have some kind of skill. And I believe every single person has a skill that they're good at, that they can accomplish a lot of great things. Now, that doesn't mean there's tons of people that never discover that, and they kind of just give up. And I don't believe anybody would choose to be on welfare if they really tapped in and found that skill set that they have. So we have to have that sense of accomplishment. Now back to Chucky. He started the PERMA model process when that young man stepped up and helped him with his goal sheet to read and to write. But the chances of him going up that status line were still very minimal. But it so happened that the next day, our project was a community service project that involved chopping wood. So when we chopped wood, Chucky was big, and he did observe that, and I don't know whether he chopped wood before or not, but since he got that axe and started motoring through splitting wood, he was like a machine. So all of a sudden, he went from low on the status line to high on the status line because he excelled in chopping wood. He made the day easier for everybody else, and he got into this engagement or flow where he just kept motoring all day long and chopped an immense amount of wood that normally we would not have seen in any other boys. So his status level went up. He fully utilized the PERMA model, and things went well for Chucky from that point on. Wouldn't it be wonderful if everybody could get into that PERMA model and get into that flourishing life and have well-being? Sadly, most people don't attain that. They just get spots of it. They think that because they have certain times and circumstances of being happy, they're kind of okay. But it could get better. It's wonderful to have happy times, but that's dependent on circumstances. So I kind of categorize three ways that we lose that flourishing, well-being life that we're capable of. First one would be lack of understanding. I get exposed to this life, to this PERMA model, to this flourishing, to this well-being, but I really don't understand it, so it kind of flutters away from me. The second way would be where there's lack of follow-through. I get it, I kind of understand it, it excites me, but I don't follow through. That would be the New Year's resolution. I'm excited about losing some weight, I'm excited about getting in shape, but I lose the persistence and the follow-through that I need. I go to the seminar and I don't implement any of the things that I learned that were just so good. The lack of follow-through would be the second thing. The third thing would be worries and cares of this world. I'm putting the urgent things in place of important things. And it ends up, unless we prioritize and put those important things first, all these bunch of other urgent things, emails and TV programs that we just think we have to do, or we have to answer that phone call, it butts out the important things in our lives, and the worries of taking risks and getting out of our comfort zone kind of cripple that process of flourishing and being into that total well-being life that we are capable of. So what can we do at this point? What do we need to do? We need to hear and understand this message, this PERMA message, this PERMA model. Look at this. It's not complicated, but it takes a process of working. And we can have flourishing in certain areas of our life, and other areas of our life can be a little bit challenging. It's hard. We get beat down in certain areas. We can be flourishing and not be happy. There's a difference there. Happy means I've got to have this great feeling. Flourishing doesn't depend and rest on feelings. It rests on a peace of mind, a knowing that I'm going to look at the positive aspect. I have flow, I have skills, I've accomplished certain things, and I can move forward in that. That's what I want us to focus on, and that's what we need to go on, not on happiness, but on what we can move forward with. Now, stories like Chucky's do not happen often enough, but can they? The PERMA model is a roadmap. It's a roadmap to get us there. Everyone has problems, they get beat down, but we get over that. So are you going to perish or choose PERMA to flourish? The flourishing life of well-being is a choice. Make it yours. If you thought this was helpful, this video was helpful, please like it, share it. Put your comments below. Where are you flourishing in your life? Are you lacking flourishing? You're not have the knowledge to do that. Would you like some encouragement? I'd love to encourage you. If you sign up for my weekly videos, I will send you these on a regular basis to help you be encouraged every week and flourish in your life. And you can look on YouTube, sign up for my YouTube channel to get these on a regular basis too. And please do leave your comments. I really do want to hear from you. So this is Dr. Dan. Know where you're going in life. Become the person you were destined to be and make a difference in the world. The Wright brothers, Martin Luther King Jr., and Charles Lindbergh, and a host of other people overcame enormous obstacles by just trying, just starting, just taking that step.